Okay, so we have started recording. So I was introducing myself. So my name is Sheba Rusokenya-Kaisiki, lecturer in the Faculty of Science, specifically in the Department of ICT. I've been lecturing for about 16 years now. I started lecturing in the faculty as a programmer. I was lecturing in programming in the software languages of Java, Visual Basics, PHP, and C++. So those are the three programming languages that I've taught. It's been some years now since I taught programming, but then after programming, I shifted. I went into research. I did my PhD in mHealth space, that is using mobile phones in healthcare. And I've been teaching master's classes in the Faculty of Education and the Faculty of Science. So in education, I teach education technology. And then for master's, I've been teaching ICT strategy. Then until beginning of this year, for about 4 years, I was head of the ICT department operations. So that is my experience in ICT. I'm not a teacher by profession, as I've given you just a glimpse of my CV. I'm not a teacher by profession. I've just had experience in teaching in ICT. And when the Faculty of Education approached me to begin facilitating this, I first got scared, wondering what exactly I'm going to do. But of course, as a lecturer, you teach and you keep growing your knowledge. So I think what this course unit for me, what it did for me was to teach me to really to begin to conceptualize what I was teaching and bring it into perspective of what it is. How is it that we're supposed to deliver content in a practical environment? So with that in mind, before I begin a lecture, I just wanted to find out from each one of you. First of all, I want to know who you are individually. Who are you? That is one. And two, I wanted for you to tell me what your expectations are of this course unit. One, it is to get to know your thoughts. And two, it's to get to know where you're heading as teachers. Because over the years since I started, I think you must be the fourth group of people that I've taught. The very first person I taught, I think was student. It was one student that I taught. The second time I taught 2 students. And the third time, I think there were 5. So you are the fourth group that I'm teaching who are taking this course. And each time I find different expectations. And with time, I realized that as people who are going into the teaching profession, you all have you have different perspectives and different career paths. So I want to understand what it is, what is your direction? What do you hope to major in? Or I don't know how you call it, major, minor. The education faculty is a bit strange to me as a profession. So I would like to understand where it is you're heading as professions. Are you going to be teachers in ICT? Then for that matter, in which direction? Are you going to be people who are focusing on computer literacy? Are you going to go pure ICT in terms of maybe programming, networking? What is your direction for that? And for that, I wanted us to use a small bit of technology to to discuss this. So I don't know if any of you have ever been introduced to a piece of software, a platform called Padlet. No, so I'm seeing something here from Sophie saying no. No, John is also saying the same thing. So Padlet is it's a software, a platform online, which allows us to have, let's say, text discussions amongst ourselves, which we can then store and use later. So since we are people who are moving into the ICT profession, I thought let us use it. Why? I'll explain to you just briefly. In the course unit I teach for the master's class, which is education technology, one of the things we discuss, because here here I deal with, of course, already teacher professionals. Some are conversant with ICT, others are not. But one of the things that I emphasize, or that we actually, not just me, but all of us in the class, is that things are changing now, and the facilitator, the teacher, the lecturer really needs to be an ICT user. So it is important that every single opportunity we get, we try to use as much technology as we can, so that when you are imparting this technology in your classroom, it's already part and parcel of you, and you are inspiring and drawing your student into use of ICT in everyday life, not just in terms of computer literacy to produce a profession who can use a computer, but also in the other area, those who may want to go the other way of pure ICT. So in our chat group, I am just going to paste a link. Please follow that link. I'm going to share my screen. And here it is. If you all go to the link I have posted in the chat room, you should all be able to come to this particular page. Are you there?
Yes, madam.
Okay. Has everyone managed to go in? Have you all gone to that link? Does everyone?
Yes, we have.
Okay. Now you see the question that I've posted there. I said, welcome to our first Padlet discussion. Please let us know what your expectations are from this course unit. So I would like for each one of you to just type out a comment on what your expectations are. You can also let me know, for example, as a person who is moving to, as a person training to be a teacher in the field of ICT, in which areas do you want to specialize, so that I can know how and where to direct my content, my delivery of content. For you to post, that you should see something like, sorry, let me move this up here. You should see at the bottom, which says say something, and you can begin to type anything. You can say hello. My name is dash dash dash. I am training to be a teacher in ICT. I would like to focus on, let's say, computer literacy. Maybe I hope to learn to gain skills maybe skills in practical content delivery, maybe something like that. Just thinking. So here I'm already seeing something from Victoria. Okay, Victoria her focus is on computer literacy. Okay, thank you, Victoria. Sorry, everyone. Sorry, I got disconnected. Let me just reshare my screen. Sorry about that. Apologies. Yes, Agre, I've seen your post. Agre, what are your expectations? So I see something from John. So John, are you looking at just computer literacy, or do you want the skill sets of an ICT person? That is, those are the things like programming and so on and so forth. Sylvia, I'm saying yes. ICT, divinity and computer. Yes. In computer, I expect to do how to teach computer in a proper way. I want to specialize in programming. Okay, Sylvia, thank you. John, yes, please.
Yes, madam.
Yes, please, John.
You wanted skills of computer, like kind of computer literacy.
Okay. Okay. Okay, thank you. So we've heard from John. Agre has said hello, but has not given us his expectations. Sylvia has also given us something, and also Victoria. And the rest? No comment from others? Something from Flavia. Yes, you want to focus on computer literacy, programming, networking, web design. So then to understand, if I could just get maybe a comment from all of you. So some of you are really taking some major course units in computer science, not so, or IT. Am I to understand that? And then
Yes.
others know. Then others know.
Yes,
Am I
madam.
right? Okay, okay, okay. So I'll be okay, that one at least helps me understand the nature of the class. Okay. Now, for me, my job then is to give you those teaching methods that should help you wherever your specialization may end up, may be. That will be my job, and I will do my level best to bring in guidance on either content. I'll not necessarily teach you programming or networking, but I'll teach you those methods that will help you. Let's say if you're going in that direction of pure ICT, or for that person who is going to focus on computer literacy in a school, either in a secondary school, primary, or even a university. Because at all levels, you find people who are taking on computer literacy. So that was how we've heard from Sandra, from Agre, from Flavia, Sylvia, John, and Victoria. Have we got everyone there? Javira, we haven't had a comment from you. But let's hope that something will come up as we go along. So what I'm going to do, let me see if Moodle is misbehaving at the moment, but I do have some slides here that I can start with. And what I basically want to do is to start by introducing you to some basic concepts and guidelines on ICT teaching methods. So let's start with that. This is a basic course outline, but I'm going to give you something more detailed. But we are going to look at basic concepts today. Then as we move further, we shall go to teaching methods in depth. So for today's lecture, I wanted us to look at the basic concepts, which are technology 1, ICT, teaching, and then teaching methods. Then a brief look at selection of a teaching method. We shall go in depth as far as that is concerned next week, selection of a teaching method. So the first concept we're going to look at is what is technology? We hear the term over and over again, and the minute anybody hears that term, depending on the field they are in, there's something they will think. There's something in your thought process that will be triggered. For example, you are ICT professionals, or rather you're people who want to focus on the ICT field of study so that you can impart it to a group of learners. So automatically when you hear the word technology, something comes to mind. maybe a mobile phone, a computer, applications, different applications that may exist on a computer and otherwise, creating applications and so on and so forth. So there is something, when you hear the term, it triggers something in mind. Now, for most of us, we think of physical tools, like I've mentioned, a computer. That's a physical tool that all of us can relate to. But the term technology covers much more than physical tools. As we go along the way, you realize that it doesn't, when we talk about technology, we don't just mean physical tools. It's also knowledge itself, knowledge of how to do something, the processes and procedures of doing something. So when we hear of the technique, it comes from the technique of doing something. That comes from the term technology. So that the term technology really encompasses a great deal of things. But ultimately, it refers to something that has been developed through scientific processes. It is there to serve a purpose. It is a tool that is there to serve a purpose, a need, a specific need, let us say. So I'll give you an example. To a farmer, a hoe is technology. A tractor is technology. Fertilizer is technology. Why? Because all these are tools that serve a purpose, there's a specific need, so to speak, as the slide here says, techniques that serve our requirements, our needs. Now, what we must understand is that these tools, be it a physical tool or a process or procedure, it doesn't exist as an isolated entity. It sits within a certain context. When we see here, what do we mean when we say that a tool sits in a certain context? Think of a gun. A gun is technology. A gun on its own can't do anything. If it is seated, if a gun has been placed, let's say, on a shelf or in a cupboard, it will sit there, it's not going to do anything. But we know a gun was designed to shoot bullets. And those bullets have the capacity, at the speed at which they leave the gun, they can cause severe harm or even end a life. But the gun by itself, when it's on a shelf, when it's in a cupboard, it can't do anything. It would take an individual, as a human being, or for whatever intent or purpose, to get it, point it at a target, whether that target is human or not, and that for that individual to shoot. Whether it is with an idea of self-defense or to cause grievous bodily harm, whatever reason, that gun, for it to begin to operate, a certain human being made a decision. So just as that gun became active within a social context, that means it became active when it fell into the hands of a human being who made a decision for whatever reason. Also, the technologies that we use in ICT, they're also entities that exist in social context and can only be operated within social contexts. So, for example, a computer is useless on its own. So you as teachers are essentially going to teach students how to use these technologies. So take an example, you're going to teach a student how to use a computer. You're going to teach a student how to write a program. You're going to teach a student how to develop a website. how to do it, all the techniques that are involved in developing a website, all the techniques that are involved in using a computer. Bearing that in mind, that means as teachers, you must have also an ethical component on how your students are going to use this technology. That ethical component must exist as a must. So before we go further, I just want to ask each one of you, if I was to remember, I don't know, one of you said you would like to learn how to impart knowledge, for example, on website design. I just want to ask you, if you are going to teach